Look, I'm not the type of guy who believes in ghosts or any of that paranormal crap. I've been driving for various delivery apps for 3 years now. I've seen it all. Drunk college kids, people ordering food in the middle of a blizzard, and houses that look like they're straight out of a horror movie. But what happened to me last night? I'm done. I've already deleted the apps. I'm writing this with my bags packed, staying at a motel 3 towns away. It started around 1:15 a.m. It was one of those foggy, humid nights where the air feels like a wet blanket. I was about to log off when a high-priority order popped up. The payout was $75 for a 4-mile trip. Usually that's a red flag for a scam, but I was behind on my rent, so I swiped accept without thinking. The pickup was for a place called the Silver Platter. I've lived in this city my whole life, and I'd never heard of it. The GPS led me away from the main streets and into the old warehouse district, a place where the streetlights have been dead since the 90s. I pulled up to a massive windowless brick building. There was no sign, just a single dim red bulb glowing over a heavy steel door. I checked the app again. Pick up at the back entrance. Do not knock. Just wait. I sat in my car, the engine idling. The silence of that district was heavy, only broken by the sound of my own wipers. Suddenly, the steel door creaked open. No one came out. A small wooden crate was pushed out onto the pavement, and the door slammed shut with a sound that echoed like a gunshot. I got out, my heart doing a nervous rhythm against my ribs. Inside the crate was a single ceramic bowl covered in silver foil. It was ice cold. Not refrigerated cold. I mean stuck in a freezer for a month cold. Attached to the top was a handwritten note. Apartment 404. Do not let the soup spill. Do not look in the mirror. I laughed it off at first. Edgy hipsters, I muttered. I put the bowl on my passenger seat and followed the GPS to the delivery address. The destination was a luxury high-rise building that I knew for a fact was still under construction. It was just a skeleton of concrete and cranes. But as I pulled up, the building looked finished. Every window was lit with a pale, flickering blue light. I walked into the lobby. There was no security, just a long hallway of mirrors. I remembered the note. Do not look in the mirror. I kept my eyes on the floor, watching my own reflection in the polished marble. But even without looking directly, I could see something was wrong. My reflection, it wasn't moving when I was. It was lagging behind, like a slow internet connection. I got into the elevator. There was only one button. 4. When the doors opened, the hallway was lined with black carpet that soaked up the sound of my footsteps. I found door 404. I reached out to knock, but the door was already ajar. The smell coming from inside was overwhelming. It smelled like old pond water and copper. Food's here, I called out. My voice sounded thin, like it was being swallowed by the walls. Put it on the table, a voice replied. It came from the very back of the dark apartment. It sounded like 2 stones grinding together. I walked in, my phone's flashlight cutting through the gloom. I saw a table in the center of the room. I placed the cold bowl down. As I did, my flashlight hit a massive mirror on the far wall. I forgot the rule. I looked. In the mirror, the room was full of people, dozens of them standing in a circle around me. They were pale, their skin tight over their bones, and their eyes were just empty, black pits. But when I looked around the actual room, it was empty, just me and the table. Then I looked at my own reflection. In the mirror, my reflection wasn't holding a delivery. It was holding a human head, and the head was screaming. "The tip is in the bowl," the voice said, closer now, right behind my ear. I didn't look back. I bolted. I ran down the hall, took the stairs instead of the elevator, and practically flew into my car. I didn't stop driving until I hit a 24-hour diner 10 miles away. I sat in the booth shaking, my hands gripped around a hot coffee. That's when I noticed my phone. I had a message from the app. "Customer reported, item not delivered. We have deducted the $75 from your balance." I looked at my hands. They were covered in a thin silver frost. I reached into my pocket for my keys and felt something else. A small, cold object. I pulled it out. It was a silver tooth, with a piece of my own hair wrapped around it. I'm at a motel now. I can hear someone knocking on the door. Not a normal knock. It's a rhythmic, slow tapping. Clip, clap, clap. And every time they tap, I hear a notification on my phone. "Order update. The customer is still waiting." I've been a delivery driver for 2 years, and I thought I'd seen everything. Weird customers, creepy basements, dogs that don't bark. But last Friday changed me. It was a rainy Tuesday night around 1 a.m. I got a ping for a small order, just a soda and a bag of chips. The tip was $50. I should have known something was wrong. Nobody tips $50 for a soda. The GPS took me out of the suburbs and into a part of town I didn't recognize. The houses were far apart, hidden behind thick, rotting trees. Finally, the app said, "You have arrived." I was standing in front of a house that looked like it had been burned down years ago. The roof was caved in, and the windows were shattered. But the app was adamant. This was the place. I walked up the porch, my boots crunching on broken glass. I knocked on the charred remains of the door. "Delivery," I called out, my voice trembling. The door didn't open, but a voice came from a small crack in the floorboards beneath my feet. A wet, gurgling voice. "Put it in the slot," it said. I looked down and saw a narrow gap in the wood. It was pitch black down there. I slid the soda and the chips through the gap. As I did, a cold, slimy hand reached out and grabbed my wrist. The grip was like a vice. I tried to scream, but my throat felt tight. "Wait," the voice whispered. "I need to pay you." I felt something cold press into my palm. Then the hand let go. I scrambled back to my car, my heart slamming against my ribs. I drove until I reached a gas station under bright lights. I looked at my hand to see what I had been paid with. It wasn't a coin or a bill. It was an old silver ring with a name engraved on the inside. Emily. My phone buzzed. It was a news notification from a local app. Cold case update. Remains of 22-year-old Emily Vance found in the basement of a burned-down home. Police are looking for the person who called it in. I looked at my phone. The delivery app was gone. No history, no order, no $50 tip. Just a blank screen. I still have the ring, and every night at 1 a.m., my phone gets a notification from a delivery app that doesn't exist. It says, "Emily is still hungry." I've been doing late-night deliveries to pay off student loans. You get used to the dark, but 3 nights ago, I saw something that made me delete every delivery app I own. I'm writing this from a friend's place because I'm too terrified to stay at home. It was Tuesday, 2:15 a.m. The streets were dead and a heavy fog had settled. I got an order for a single pizza at the end of a gravel road, miles from any streetlight. The customer's name was just Jay, and the instructions were unnerving. Do not come to the front door. Drive to the back porch. Leave the pizza on the chair and ring the bell twice. Do not wait for me. Leave immediately. The tip was $40, so I figured Jay was just a recluse. The drive was brutal. The road was full of potholes and the thick woods seemed to be closing in. The house was a wreck with boarded-up windows and peeling paint. Only one window on the second floor had a dim, flickering yellow light. I drove to the back, keeping my engine running. I stepped onto the creaky porch and found a rusted metal chair. As I set the pizza down, the air turned freezing cold. That prickling sensation hit my neck. I felt eyes on me. I looked up at a small circular window above the back door. In the reflection of the glass, I saw my car, but I also saw a pale, thin face pressed against my backseat window, looking directly at me from inside my own vehicle. I froze. I tried to tell myself it was a reflection, but then the head tilted slowly, almost 90 degrees. It was watching me from inside my car, waiting for me to get back in. I didn't ring the bell. I sprinted to the driver's side, jumped in, and locked the door instantly. I looked in the rearview mirror. The back seat was empty. I floored it, racing down that driveway until I reached a bright gas station miles away. I sat there shaking, trying to breathe. I picked up my phone to mark the order as delivered. That's when I saw a new message from Jay, sent at the exact moment I was on the porch. I told you not to look. Now I have to follow you home to get my pizza. I looked at the passenger seat. The pizza box I had left on the porch was sitting right there. It was steaming hot. I never brought it back into the car. I know I left it on that chair. I stayed in a police parking lot until sunrise. When I finally went home, my front door was unlocked. On my kitchen table was a single slice of pizza and a note in messy, wet ink. Thanks for the ride. I'm moving out tomorrow. If you're a driver and you get an order for a house at the end of a gravel road, cancel it. No tip is worth this.